Schultz here for Calculated Risk, and don't forget, before we get started, the best ways you can help us are by liking the video or subscribing to the channel. Either one of those things really helps us out a lot. So your iron condor is in trouble. Right, the stock started moving, one side started getting tested, and you're thinking, man, what do? I thought this was going to be easy, but apparently, maybe not. Now, at this point, there are a lot of things that you could do. I mean, you could roll the untested side. You could buy back the threatened spread. You could add even more delta to the position to try to weasel your way out of what's going on. You could do all those things. But here's what I propose. You do absolutely nothing. Not a single thing. Let's dive in. All right, so an iron condor is just two vertical spreads, right? I'm just selling a put spread below. I'm selling a call spread above. Anything in the middle is my profit zone. I've got my defined risk. I'm looking at the analysis tab inside of Tasty Trade, and all is well in the world. It looks like, man, there is no way this thing's not going to work. Like, I've got so much room to be wrong. I've got so much room on both sides of the market. As long as the stock stays between my two short strikes, I'm going to be in a great spot. For instance, maybe you've got a stock at like $100 per share and you sell a 90-85 put spread below. So you're selling a 90 put on the downside. You sell maybe a 110-115 call spread above. So you're selling a 110 call on the upside. So your two short strikes are 90 on the downside and 110 on the upside with the stock at 100. That's a 10% move on either side of the market that you are essentially protected from. Let's say you sell this guy for, I don't know, $1.75, right? So you sell this guy for $1.75. It's a $5 wide iron condor. That means you have $3.25 at risk in the strategy. That is your maximum loss. So for the whole contract, you could make $175. If everything goes wrong and it goes haywire and never comes back, you're going to lose $325. It's clean. It's simple. Your risk is defined. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, let's say the stock gets on its horse. Let's say all of a sudden the stock over the course of the next couple of days, couple of weeks, whatever, it runs from 100 all the way up to 110. So now all of a sudden everything was quiet on the home front and now your short call is tested. So now you are tested on the upside. So what could you do? Well, one of the things that you could do, you could roll up the put spread, roll up that untested side. It is doing its job. It is doing what you have politely asked it to do, but you could roll that guy in to bring in some credit to kind of mitigate your losses, to control the downside delta. There's even a lot of tasty research on doing this and rolling the untested side. This is certainly a viable strategy that you could apply to an iron condor when one side is tested and you want to make an adjustment. But here's the problem. The gotcha, as some might say. When you have an iron condor, that distance between your short strikes, that's your profit zone. Like, that is valuable real estate, man. That is like beachfront St. Pete property. So when you roll up that put spread side, you are collapsing that profit zone. You are shrinking that profit zone. Yes, you do have gimmies that come alongside the gotcha. Of course, you're bringing in credit. You're reducing or mitigating your directional bias. So this is not without merit. But again, keep in mind, when you are rolling up the untested side, in our case, I'm rolling up that put spread, understand what you're giving up. Understand what the gotcha is in the strategy that you are sacrificing in exchange for whatever gimmies you might want. And in this case, it means a much, much smaller, a shrunken down profit zone when it comes to making money on the iron condor in the end. You see, when you have something like a short strangle, the undefined risk version of an iron condor, you don't really have these problems. Right? You don't really have these problems because you only have short strikes on both sides. And so those short strikes and the strategy in general can breathe a lot more easily because it's not smothered by those long strikes. You don't have all the friction from those long strikes. Now, again, those long strikes in an iron condor are necessary. Like, they have to be there if you want your risk to be defined in the strategy. So we can't completely throw them under the bus and throw the baby out with the bathwater, whatever that means, but it felt right to say in this context. And so when it comes to a short strangle, I have a lot more flexibility. I have a lot more room to be, to allow the strategy to move around. With an iron condor, I don't have that. With an iron condor, I have risk defined. I have my max loss, my worst case scenario note on entry, but I'm giving up a lot of flexibility in exchange for those things. And in my humble, professional, maybe even personal opinion, rolling up the untested side on the Iron Condor, it's got too many gotchas associated with it. Because keep in mind, right, when you make adjustments, what are you doing? Like you're adjusting, you're navigating bid-ask spread differentials, you're paying more transaction costs, you're narrowing that profit zone. Like you have kind of a litany of gotchas that you have to absorb when it comes to that. Not to mention, you're essentially doing a four-legged transaction when you are buying back one spread and then selling out the new spread. And so you're negotiating four different bid-ask spread differentials. And so if the markets are even a tiny bit wide in those actual strategies, it can be very difficult to get filled around fair prices. And so again, you are reducing risk, you are bringing in more credit, you are improving your break-even point to the upside, but it is coming at a very significant cost. So what should you do? Well, again, I think 9 times out of 10, maybe 19 times out of 20, maybe 98 times out of 100, you should do anything. You should do absolutely nothing. Just let it cook, man. Just put it on the back burner, walk away, go live your life, and come back and check on it later that day, the next day, what have you. But if you want to do something, if you're like, Jim, I gotta do something, here's what you do. Roll it out for a credit. If you can roll it out for a credit at 21 days to go or inside of 21 days to go, then do that. If you want to extend the duration of the trade, you want to bring in a bit more premium, that I have far fewer issues with when it comes to adjusting in Iron Condor. Now, to be very clear, right, and just to be totally forthcoming, the times that you're going to want to do this, roll it out for a credit, you're not going to be able to. Like when you're tested on one side, or even if you're in the money on one side, you're not going to be able to roll the Iron Condor for a credit. It would have to be a debit to roll. And so in a situation where it's kind of meandering between the strikes, but it hasn't hit your profit target yet, and you're at a scratch or maybe a small loss or a small winner, but you want to stay in the trade, then roll it out. Roll it out for a credit, extend the duration. That is a great adjustment with an Iron Condor. But if you do have to pay a debit, I would not do that. If you do have to pay a debit, now you're adding risk to the trade. Like whatever you pay for the debit, a dime, a quarter, a dollar, whatever it is, that is additional risk that you've now added to a trade, a position where one of the most attractive features of the position is your maximum loss is known on entry. Right, my worst case scenario is cemented into the ground when I put the trade on. Well, if you start going in and fiddling around with debits on rolls and things like that, that all changes. Like now all of a sudden your maximum loss is different than it was at trade entry. Now, of course, I mean, we got to be real about this. If it's a penny debit to roll or 2 pennies debit to roll or whatever, that's essentially a scratch. By all means, go for it if that makes sense to you. But if we're talking about quarters, 50 cents, dollars, things like that, that is quite significant. I would not do that. So Iron Condors, not my favorite strategy, as I've been very clear about. Shout out to the From Theory to Practice fan, which is every day on the Tasty Network at 2:30 Eastern, by the way. But it's still a great strategy for a beginner trader. If you're learning the markets, you've maybe never played the markets from a neutral standpoint, like that might kind of blow your mind. Like, man, I don't have to be long or short. I don't have to play the upside or the downside. No, you don't. And an Iron Condor is a great way to learn that. So it's an incredible learning tool for people that are just starting out and the newer traders that are out there kind of finding their way. But when things go sideways, rather than adjusting the strategy, I would consider adopting the DNS, the do nothing strategy. With an Iron Condor, you want to size that guy small enough to where if you have to take max loss, you take max loss. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out and you just move on. But a lot of times what's going to happen is the stock's going to move away from you. It's going to run up to your call strike and then run right back down. It's going to run down to your put strike and then run right back up. This happens over and over and over again. And again, there's no guarantee it's going to happen. There's no guarantee it's going to work, but that's the beauty of being small on entry, so that if it doesn't work, you can just move on to the next trade and not really worry about it too much. I hope that helped, and I'll see you guys next time.